and the schools literally were taken over by the financial interests that put up the money. Now, what happened as a result of that is that the schools did receive an infusion of money. They were able to build new buildings. They were able to add expensive equipment to their laboratories. They were able to hire top-notch teachers. They were able to upgrade the level of medical education in America by 100-fold. But at the same time as doing that, they skewed the whole thing in the direction of pharmaceutical drugs. That was the efficiency in philanthropy. The doctors from that point forward in history would be taught pharmaceutical drugs. Those schools that did not accept those terms did not receive the money, and they generally fell by the wayside, and today you probably have never heard of them. All of the great teaching institutions in America were captured by the pharmaceutical interests in this fashion, and it's amazing how little money it really took to do it. So now the average doctor goes through school, he gets a great education, he has to be really smart to get through it, he learns all about drugs, he doesn't know too much about basic nutrition. I found that the average wife of these physicians knows more about nutrition than he does, but they sure know their drugs. And if you go to your typical doctor today, I don't care what it is, chances are you're going to walk out of there with a prescription. Why? Because that's what he has been trained to do. Drugs are the treatment of choice. Now, this is how it came to pass, ladies and gentlemen, and you need to know it. Our doctors need to know it, and interestingly enough, a lot of doctors are becoming aware of that now, and we're seeing, I think, what is the beginning of a mass exodus, or at least a rebellion, of young doctors who have gone through this process, and they see what pharmaceutical drugs are doing to their patients. They see that they're not helping, and that they see that they're causing more problems than they're curing, and they are rebelling, and they're beginning to ask questions. But we have a long, long way to go. Now, how does this play out in Laetrile? The classic example, between 1972 and 1977, Laetrile was in the news. And there was a lot of hoopla, largely brought about as a result of the work that I was doing and that Dr. John was doing and that Patricia was doing. And we had a militant organization. We were out there beating the pavement and sounding the alarm and giving testimony before a lot of state legislative committees and all that. We were making a lot of noise, and so we were in the press. Some of it not too favorable, I have to admit, but we were in the press. And so the question came, does Laetrile work or doesn't it? Come on, let's get on with it. Let's find out. Let's find some nice, prestigious place, some research institution that we can trust that will tell us whether Laetrile works or not. And what would be a better place than Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York on Manhattan? Now, everybody knows that the Memorial Sloan Cancer Center is at the top of the list of prestige. So, naturally, that was selected. And here's what happened. They began a series of tests on Laetrile, and they turned it over to their top laboratory technician, Dr. Kinematsu Segura, Japanese fellow. He was sort of at the end of his career. He was very well known, very held in high esteem by all of his associates. He was Mr. Laboratory Test. Whatever Segura said went for everybody. So they gave it to Segura. Segura ran his tests, and this was his report. He came to 5 conclusions. First of all, he said it improved the general health of the mice that he was using. Secondly, it appeared to relieve their pain. Thirdly, it inhibited the growth of tumors. Fourth, it stopped the spread of tumors. And 5, it acted as a cancer prevention. That was his official finding. And at the end of this report, this is a quote, Dr. Segura has never observed complete regression of these tumors in all his cosmic experience with other chemotherapeutic agents. End quote. An astounding good report card, wouldn't you say? So what happened? To appreciate what happened next, we must understand that John D. Rockefeller Sr. and his son J.D. II began donating money to Sloan Kettering in 1927, and in the 1930s they donated the block of land on which Sloan Kettering now stands. At the time of the Laetrile trials, there were 3 Rockefellers on the board of directors: James, Lawrence, and William. And they were there, of course, to see to it that there was efficiency in their philanthropy. So here's what happened. Segura's findings did not please the board of directors. Why? Because they were not interested in a cure for cancer that cannot be patented. Anything that comes from nature cannot be patented. They're not interested in that. But what they are interested in, finding something perhaps within something in nature, if they can find some subcomponent that they can extract and then make it a man-made chemical that works the same way, then they can patent that, then they're interested, but not if it comes from nature, and it doesn't make any difference whether it works. Now, how do we know this? Congressman John Kelsley used the Freedom of Information Act to obtain a copy of the minutes of the Board of Directors of Sloan Kettering dated July 2nd, 1974. And from the minutes it said, quote, "Sloan Kettering is not enthusiastic about studying amygdalin, but would like to study cyanide-releasing drugs," end quote. Now, if you understand that sentence, you understand everything that I'm talking to you about today. Not interested in amygdalin, because that's in nature. But if we can find a drug, meaning a man-made patentable drug that works the same way, we're interested. Count us in. All right. So, we translate that into the real world of FDA approval. You know, the FDA now requires all of these substances to be used in the treatment of any disease to go through a rigorous testing process. We have all heard that. I've forgotten the number. It goes up every month. I guess it's $20 million or more, maybe much more, for the average drug to get processed and tested, and they test it for efficiency, efficacy, and safety. Well, who is going to spend $20 million testing the safety and efficacy of an apricot seed? You can't patent it. It's just money down the drain. Surely these drug companies aren't going to spend $20 million or more testing any substance from nature because it can't be patented. That, and of course the FDA says it's illegal to use unless it's been tested for efficacy and safety. Now you see the catch-22 you're in there. Nothing from nature, regardless of how effective it might be, will ever be proven safe or effective according to the FDA. It'll never be. Because nobody's going to spend the money to go through the test. So therefore, everything from nature will always be condemned by the FDA as unproven. An unproven cancer cure, which is the label they tried to hang on Laetrile. It was indeed unproven in terms of FDA testing, but it was very well proven in the clinics and in the hospitals and in the laboratories of the people who were using it with a serious intent.
This is a test of the emergency bonehead system. This is only a test.
Virus, mad as hell! I don't like biotakers anymore!
This is a test of the emergency bonehead system. The bonehead is in your area in voluntary defiance of federal, state, and local authorities have developed this system to keep you informed in the event of a bonehead emergency. If this had been an actual emergency, the attention signal you just heard would have been followed by official supply information, police scanner news, and emergency boneheading instructions. This concludes this test of the emergency bonehead system.
Quit playing games with God!
Wake up, America.